Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salsabila Prematura and my friends are Yacub, Rizki and Alma Rahmawati. In this video, we're talking about a learner-centered approach. What do you know about a learner-centered approach? Different from traditional method, a learner-centered approach shifts the focus of instruction from the teacher to the student. It consists of collaborative work, students discuss with peers, and the learner take more action in the class. However, the essential point of this method is we have to make sure that the students like to be engaged with the class activity. There are four characteristics of learner-centered. First, learner-centered motivates students to communicate with peers, to speak more in class activity. Second, learner-centered encourages students to accept responsibility for decisions they make about learning, like how they study for exam. Third, learner-centered engage students with class activity and involve them in determining what they want to do. The last one, this method consists of collaborative work, which allows students to discuss with their partners in order to do or determine something. Recognizing the political shape in classroom. Unlike a traditional method, there are some considerations when we apply learner-centered in the classroom. First, trust your students to make decisions about what to work on, how to study, and so on. Even though students can determine what they want to do, a teacher has to be vigilant being students' facilitator. And teacher is not appropriate to change the whole way of teaching in one night, because it will confuse students to be involved in class activity.
Then, in the next slides, we will talking about making the case to students. First is don't shy away from explaining why you believe in learner-centered work. And then the second is ask questions that get students thinking about their own learning and discussing it. And then this is about making your class more learner-centered. First is get students discuss some decision. If the time allows, try to asking them why they decided it and try to ask them to think in another point of view. Second is don't always go with majority. So it is for the example, if you don't have any sufficient time for discussing all the things that didn't matter. And do not always obey the majority of such students say, like, most of students want to do that, let's do it. You can try to say, well, we always do that. How about doing other things for a change? You can try as simple as that. Third is demonstrate that you are listening but also have an opinion. As a teacher, you are free to join a discussion with them, also directing what they should do, giving an advice on how to best to go, but without pushing them to have to follow what you want to do. Fourth is get students to notice that not everyone has the same point. Allow several students to give their view. Start with giving opportunity to the quieter and also the weaker one student to share their thought, and then encourage the other student to involve in it. And then the last is don't let students boring to discuss. You can try it with make the discussion crispy and to the point. Don't make it too long when reach a conclusion, because it will make a students feel bored. Then in the slide 7, it is talk about in at the tip end and casting of the wizard cloak. The teacher creating a condition that the learner to take an ownership in the course. The teacher explaining any constraint, then involving the students to decide what kind of lesson they want to do and how to work and so on.
Casting off the wizard cloak. Students often come to the class with an extraordinary belief in the magical ability of the teacher. They trust that their teacher will know what they think, what they want, and how they want to do it. But in fact, we as teachers do not like that. The main thing here is we don't have to be perfect with answering all the questions that is beyond our knowledge. An example, When your student asks for advice, don't answer it before you are fully understand with the problem and know that you can really help them or not. You can't motivate anyone. A lot of teachers believe that they have task of motivating their student and that is one of the most important parts of their works. It's one of the reasons that teaching can feel so exhausting. The trouble is, when we try to be fun and motivate them, the learners tend to sit back and expect a performance and it will sustainable. So, it is important that we have to give them a choice about what will we study, what the method they choose, and what the speed they work at, because self-appropriated learning is motivating. Learner-centered work in low-level classes. There are 5 points. 1. Discuss in their L1 if you can. This means if you can speak in their first language, it will be more easier for them to discuss the issues of the topic. 2. Don't underestimate them. It's easy to equate low language level, but the important thing here is you have to find to treat them just as you would advanced students of the same age and background. 3. Don't trade them into over. Just because students ask for help, don't assume that you have to do everything they ask for. Look for opportunities for students to do things by themselves. 4. Train students to start making decisions. It's never too early to start student making choice. As long as you can explain what they need to be decide, they can decide. 5. Get them to make tests for themselves. Ask your student to make 3 questions at the end of each lesson, and then the next lesson, let them do their own question. Use this as a small step into getting them used to preparing more things for themselves. So for the resources, we use Classroom Management Technique by Scrivener, Learner Centered Teaching 5K Change to Practice by Weimer Mariellen, and for the video, you can check it in the description below. That's all about student-centered learning, and thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.